sold his first 1,000 albums. Yeah.
October 2013. Rapper, entrepreneur, and somewhat activist, better known as Nipsey Hussle, made a controversial yet genius in retrospect move that shaped the independent hip-hop scene for years to come. Nipsey released his 8th official mixtape, Crenshaw, named after the Crenshaw district of South Central LA, where Nipsey Hussle was born and raised. Crenshaw was not only received well for its quality among Nipsey Hussle fans, many considering the top 3 alongside his Marathon trilogy and the Victory Lap album, but also for Nipsey Hussle's decision on how to actually distribute the mixtape. The thing is, Crenshaw was free like the majority of the mixtapes back in the day, and anyone could listen to it digitally. However, if you wanted to listen to Nipsey's newest material as soon as possible, you had to buy a special edition of a mixtape that had a limited edition of hard copies, 1,000 to be exact. That cost a whopping $100 per unit, and this is $100 in 2013, not the modern day. The fans were buzzing, blogs were picking it up, critics and experts doubted such a decision from the get-go, and seemingly only Nipsey Hussle believed in this project the entire time. However, Nipsey was thinking way ahead of the curve, smartly pulling marketing moves to hype up his pricey release, inviting high-profile artists like Rick Ross, Dom Kennedy, Slim Thug, and many more. Nipsey had multiple expansions for that business decision, one of which was his desire to target the most devoted part of his fan base. The reason I chose to charge $100 each copy and only start with 1,000 units is because I tailor making my music for those who are listening. The second reason was Nipsey's desire to see how far he had made it and how much his music was worth to rap fans. As an artist, a lot of times you're asked to sacrifice the integrity of your art for commercial interests because you want to try and sell as much as possible. By marking the price up, expect to sell a lot fewer units, but we knew we were selling to people who were already super engaged. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel or think too much about what we did. We just had to make sure not to stray from the course that we already were on. And the third reason was by far the most ambitious one: to challenge, change, and shape the music industry in the way business was done by an independent rapper. Nipsey Hussle was always known for his adventurous business mind and deep understanding of how things worked in marketing. He was always looking for the most effective, innovative, and up-to-date ways to distribute his music and was never afraid to try. In the early 2010s, Nipsey was ahead of his time in terms of seeing the bigger picture of the business side of the music industry and generating as much profit as possible. And Crenshaw solidified his status as a visionary that saw and understood the rules of the game coming into the digital era. It's 2013. Whether we accept it or not, buying music is a choice, not a requisite. When I think of the psychology behind what makes me purchase an artist's album, it's always a form of reciprocation, almost like a token of appreciation after I experience the product. The reason I chose to charge $100 each copy and only start with 1,000 units is because I tailor making my music for those who are listening. It's not about stepping outside of what I'm known for in hopes of new discovery. What that means, less is fans that are better served. I'm more or less focused on fully serving the ones that have connected already. That being said, it's a value over volume thing. If I'm going to offer a product made with no compromise or concession to the platforms, radio, A&R opinion, label bias, etc., then the way we sell has to change. In a way, we can say that Nipsey was one of the first artists to use a patron-esque model to distribute his material. For $100, fans who bought the limited physical edition of Crenshaw not only got a hip-hop album to add to their collection, but they also got Nipsey's autograph, a ticket to one of his upcoming live shows, and a chance to get one of 2 special gifts from the artist. One of the random fans got to personally talk to Nipsey Hussle on the phone and received an additional...
Damn, Nipsey Hussle give fans his number? Like, damn, Nipsey Hussle really he really love his fans. We really love, he deadass love his fans for him to give a fan his number, bro.
signed photograph in the mail, and another fan could meet Nipsey at the recording studio while he was working on his first album, Victory Lap, that was set to release a year after Crenshaw, and get the opportunity to hear an early version of the product before its release. Needless to say, that was an incredibly smart marketing decision to boost the sales of the hard copies, given Nipsey's solidified status even back in 2013, at least locally. Each of the hard copies was given a special number to prove its uniqueness and limited supply. Nipsey Hussle never claimed Crenshaw to be a musical masterpiece before its release, and in his eyes, the mixtape's quality wasn't the sole purpose of putting the $100 price tag on it. It was larger than that matter, and arguably it was even larger than the music itself. It isn't the price of the plastic case and polyurethane disc. It's the price of revolution. The price of rebellion against an industry that has tricked us all into making products that have no soul for fear of not being heard if we don't. This decision was a statement, and proof of the legitimacy of Nipsey's vision, and not to downplay on Nipsey Hussle's craft. Crenshaw turned out to be great on all levels: commercial, influential, and music. Despite all the skepticism, Crenshaw's limited $100 edition was sold in less than a day in a local pop-up store in LA. Notably, Nipsey didn't miss an opportunity to make the most of the campaign, coming to the first day of CD sales personally to take pictures with fans and sign copies on the fly, which contributed to the fans' interest and coverage. People gathered at the store's doors and waited till midnight to buy a special copy of the mixtape. Among those people were LA Leakers, Just Incredible, and DJ Sourmilk, who wanted to show support for the artist, but the crowd was far from being industry planted. It was full of regular fans who truly appreciated Nipsey's music. A lot of people came in marathon merchandise and shared their unity with Nipsey Hussle and his views, calling Nipsey's art motivating and inspiring. However, not everyone felt the same way. While trolls on Twitter are far from being an indicator of any real criticism, they still contributed to spreading negativity, or fair criticism in their eyes, about Nipsey's name by making memes and clowning Nipsey Hussle's overconfident or cash grab opportunity. However, it would be unfair to say that it ended with internet haters, as the media picked up on a trend as well. Compton's KJLH-FM radio station, in Nipsey's words, did an on-air mocking of him and were making jokes about the fact that he dared to sell the CD for $100, while listeners added some heat, accusing Nipsey of faking the entire story in pursuit of cheap clout. Nipsey responded to criticism on his Twitter page, stating, if you don't support
it, at least don't bash it. I mean, like, he's saying, like, if you don't support it, at least don't bash it. I mean, if they don't like it, they probably will gonna bash it, because you gotta understand, like, not everybody's gonna like it, bro. Not everybody's gonna say nothing. Not everybody's gonna say positive shit about the album, bro. Like the CD, like not everything. You know, y'all know what I'm saying, right? Not everything is like, not every comment is gonna be positive, bro. Like, you know.
At least don't bash it. It wasn't the only media source that bashed him for his video. A longtime Nipsey critic and article writer for the magazine Complex, Shipley, who previously called Nipsey an underachiever in the infamous article.
That's not true. Nipsey achieved. He's overachieved. You are like.
Also couldn't miss the opportunity to ridicule him, saying, Nipsey Hussle hasn't had an idea this stupid since he came up with his rapper name. Nipsey didn't respond, blocking him without giving him the props. Although in reality, Nipsey had way more supporters in high places in comparison to the vocal but rather small-time minority. None other than Jay-Z showed respect to Nipsey's business hustle, buying not one, but 100 of Crenshaw's limited edition copies. Nipsey got a call from Roc Nation's representative with a message that went along the lines of, Jay-Z just sent you 10 bands for 100 CDs. Nipsey stayed collected and sent Hove a package with 100 hard copies of his latest project. Later, he shared a photo of a historic bank receipt on his page, writing, they be like, who gon' spend $100 for a CD? I be like, S. Carter Enterprises, single wire transfer, $10,000. And the rest was history. No one could put it into words better than Nipsey did himself. When Jay tapped into the wave, everybody became a believer. Hove saw a fellow visionary and respected Nipsey's ambition, hustle, and strive to make the industry better. Now, not only was Crenshaw legitimized in the eyes of the public as a musical product, but the distribution model itself was recognized as well. Nipsey Hussle called this model Proud to Pay. It was a collective term for everything we saw Nipsey do with his Crenshaw campaign, but on a larger scale. For example, fans who participated in the Proud to Pay system would get exclusive merch drops, tickets to concerts, signed merchandise items, and much more. With time, it had grown into a full-time service that provided help to independent artists with distribution, marketing, and promotion. As a music journalist, Insan Al-Ahmed said in 2020, Nipsey Hussle saw the future first. He did the major label thing, and then he sort of bucked that and he goes this alternative route. At the time, people thought he was hustling backward. When people look back now, it's like, oh, actually that's what everybody wants to do. When you look at the merch bundle that every artist does now to get a #1 album, you have to buy a t-shirt and a concert ticket with the album for $100. Nipsey was doing that 7 years ago. Also note that Nipsey saw where the music industry was heading only 2 years after the boom of music streaming services, which marked a huge shift for the business, making incredibly accurate remarks like the following. It's time we acknowledge what we all know, that music is free. We shouldn't force people to buy it, but what we should do is create different methods to monetize the connection. Nipsey's hustle was all about monetization, engagement, and conversion way before those words became a regular thing in the post-streaming era. Funnily enough, it could have never happened if Nipsey went with the original plan of releasing the mixtape on DatPiff or the mixtape sites completely for free. However, he calculated all the risks, including the song leaking problem, which is equally as relevant in the digital era, and came up with the Proud to Pay campaign. And would you be surprised to know that this module was inspired by Philly street food? Being a bookworm, as Nipsey called himself, he got the idea from the book Contagious, Why Things Catch On. In one of the chapters, Nipsey read about Barclay Prime, a Philadelphia restaurant that suddenly began to charge $100 for cheesesteak sandwiches that were considered ordinary street food. However, it wasn't just a
So, all my Philly people watching you are like, is Philly cheesesteaks good? Like, let me know. Is that shit's good? Let me know, bro.
as Nipsey recalled. It came with truffles and it came with a glass of champagne. It was a real elegant presentation. But they got all types of backlash because they charge $100 for a product that costs $3 or $4 in Philly. But after a while, it became like a status symbol. When you want to take a girl on a nice date, you take her to Barclay Prime and get a $100 cheesesteak. Oprah came through and got one. Jay Leno got one. And it became a really big marketing tool for their restaurant, and a magnet to bring people in. So I just thought about hip-hop, and I'm just like, our price point was come up by somebody. We never came up with the business model. Nipsey gave all credit to Jonah Berger, who was the author of the book, which it's a great book, by the way, I've read it, and to Big Bob, Nipsey's friend who recommended him this read. The success of Crenshaw was the outcome of a well-planned, slowly unfolding strategy, rather than a one-and-done type of wonder. It was the result of hard work and forward thinking by Nipsey. Nipsey's business partner, photographer, tour manager, and longtime friend Jorge Paniche compared Nipsey's music to a piece of art and shared his view on why Nipsey's mixtape easily became a commercial success among rap fans. Some people might look at an abstract painting by Picasso and say, that's not worth $1 million. It's open to interpretation. The value of music may have been depreciated, but the fact that people were willing to pay $100 for Crenshaw shows that there must be something they're connecting with on more than a superficial level. Eventually, the project went even bigger, as the demand for hard copies was real and Nipsey decided to continue selling CDs. Although this time without the unique offers that came with the limited edition. You can only imagine what kind of viral effect Jay-Z's approval, warm fans' reception, and all the media buzz had and how greatly improved future sales. All the money Nipsey earned from this business stunt went into his future projects and the development of his independent company. Back in 2013, Nipsey Hussle saw the harsh reality that made him adapt. CD sales are falling off the cliff, but the artist is thriving. But more people consume our music and people are going to shows again because you can't bootleg that. You can't download the show. Those words can't be more relevant than they are today, with digital art being easily spread, but usually difficult to monetize due to leaks, streams needing millions, and many other factors. However, Nipsey always knew the real value that real artists possess in the form of live performances, concerts, interaction. So he gave the keys to the future generations before many others. A couple of years later, Nipsey repeated the success of the Crenshaw tested model with his Mailbox Money project, this time charging $1,000 for a hard copy, with a total supply of only 100 CDs. Nipsey Hussle eventually sold the special edition of the record in a couple of weeks, solidifying the legitimacy of the method. Nowadays, the original unsealed limited edition copy of Crenshaw sits at $255 for a CD on various reselling websites. Nipsey Hussle showed independent artists who don't want to dumb down their music new ways to convert their art into value. He showed them how to make the most of the digital world we live in, and how to survive and thrive in an industry that's mostly run by large companies with insane budgets. Nipsey's motto of, we bought our own equipment, we built studios ourselves, paid for rent in the spaces ourselves, hustling at the same time, taking care of business. Every time I drop, we elevate and move forward, was truly what he lived and never backed down from, even until his very last days.
Yeah, that's the vid, bro. Look, yeah, look, my fault. Yeah, bro. Let me know what y'all think, bro. Let me know what y'all think about Nipsey Hussle, bro. Like, Nipsey Hussle's a positive guy, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, he's a positive like nigga, bro. And let me know what y'all think, bro. Comment down below what he said favorite Nipsey Hussle song, bro. And what y'all like most about him, bro. Alright, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. If you're just checking out, you are.